Some people are addicted to caffeine, gambling, cat girls, but me, and I'm assuming the majority of you are addicted to the cloud. Lambdas, blob storage, Firebase integration, you name it, I cannot deploy without it. And as a young bug developer, I feel like I'm speaking for all of us when I say that we have soft hands.
I wash my hands in concrete, rinse it with diesel, you wash yours with Dove soap. We're not the same.
Think to yourself, when was the last time you deployed to on-prem? I bet you guys haven't even felt the touch of a server rack. The majority of places I've worked at used one of these cloud providers in some way, and usually for the majority of their hosting. But have we been tricked by these cloud providers and fallen into a trap that we can no longer get out of? I think I found a few cases that might make you reconsider hosting your next $1 trillion app in the cloud. A few weeks ago, Figma went public, and with that, they released their expense reports. And since my job is pumping out more and more JavaScript code and I'm not an accountant, I was only interested in one part. Figma's contract with AWS that's worth $545 million over 5 years. And if we do a little calculating, that's $300,000 per day, or about the salary of one day in the life tech influencer per day. So about 12% of Figma's total revenue will go straight towards AWS, which seems kind of high to me. So I wanted to know what services are costing him this much money, but sadly they don't release specific breakdowns, though they do release their tech stack. So I'm going to try to do a rough calculation on what's costing them so much. Now, Figma's design tool is incredible. It seamlessly allows multiple designers to work on the same project at the exact same time. And all of those changes sync up in real time. I barely notice any kind of delays. To achieve this, their architecture is really well built. It took them about 4 years to build out their first MVP before the product even went live. Now, their tech stack consists of React, TypeScript, WebAssembly, and C++ for their frontend, which is really unique. The majority of Figma's frontend is written in C++ with some TypeScript that binds and uses that underlying C++ code.
So everything that's in the canvas is rendered using what we refer to as full screen, which is our C++ code base and renderer. And then what that does is it writes to a literal canvas element in the DOM using either WebGL or WebGPU, depending on browser support. So that's like a lot of our main stack that we work in when building out the UI is in C++.
For their backend APIs, they use Ruby, which makes me think they don't know they could run JavaScript on the server. They also have a custom implementation of GraphQL they call LiveGraph that works with another custom implementation of their multiplayer engine built in Rust that keeps all data and changes synced up between users. And finally, they use RDS Postgres for their database with some file storage in S3. But their Postgres database is a little bit interesting. They used to have one massive database for the entirety of the product. So yes, the largest possible RDS instance they could have, they bought. But it grew way too big and it didn't scale to meet their demands, so they built a custom implementation very similar to Postgres. Now, with their tech stack being broken down like this, we can kind of see where the majority of their costs are coming from. I would venture to guess that 60% of the spending, which is about 180 grand a day or $66 million per year, is coming from their compute layer, which would be the live graph and their custom Rust multiplayer implementation. And then I'm guessing another 20% or about $60,000 per day, $22 million per year is spent on their data storage, so their S3 buckets and their implementation of RDS or Postgres. And the last 20% is most likely for their networking costs for infrastructure like AWS CloudFront, their CDN network, data transfers between zones, everything related to network traffic. You gotta remember, this stuff is still pricey on AWS. Sadly, bandwidth is not free. And obviously, these are just guesses, and from my experience, most likely a Figma employee is super pissed at me right now. But this shows how expensive these services can be. We can actually take a look at a company migrating away from AWS and what their costs have been. A company named Basecamp decided to move off of AWS because it would save them $7 million over 5 years. They spent around $3.2 million on cloud hosting costs just in 2022, and the majority of that, about $1 million, was storing 8 petabytes of data inside of S3 with full replication across multiple regions. And if you know anything about S3, you know that is an expensive configuration. Instead, they decided to buy 22 top-of-the-line machines themselves, and with the bandwidth cost, power, boxes, it would cost them $840,000 per year, which still sounds like a lot, but that's way better than the $2.3 million in cloud costs. Now I hear what you're all saying, but Dev, it's gonna be so expensive to maintain all of those machines. And to that I say, have you seen how many AWS services there are? Moving to a cloud provider does not mean you get to remove your security department. Instead, that means they're going to have to become AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud experts. Configuring permissions, IAM roles, security groups, and a bunch of other things is still extremely difficult and easy to screw up. That means every developer at your company has to get familiar with AWS in some way. For AWS, there are 12 certificates you can get. That's pretty much a undergrad college semester, and some can be pretty difficult. I know because I had to take one and I struggled, obviously, but the specialty ones especially are notoriously hard. And the worst thing is, those skills are not always transferable to the next cloud platform. AWS isn't necessarily configured like Azure, so you're going to have to relearn those new skills at another company if you ever move. I feel like vendor lock is the main problem here. Transferring services from one cloud provider to another could be a huge feat, even if you're getting a better deal somewhere else. And I don't mean just transferring over data. You're most likely going to have to rewrite entire applications because they are specifically tailored to whatever cloud provider you work on. And as an engineer personally working in these cloud hosts, one of my biggest pain points has been local development. A lot of these tools do not provide a localized toolkit. You can't just spin up an S3 bucket, SQS, SNS for local development. Instead, you might have to buy and rely on third-party vendors like LocalStack to mimic these services. So that promised quick development time may have just been Kool-Aid that we've all drunk. But wait a minute, there might be a light at the end of this tunnel. A new type of cloud hosting I like to call wrapper cloud hosting. These are hosts like Vercel and Neon that make it even easier to deploy your code, but those shiny UIs are actually a siren disguising you from the real truth. That these hosts can be kind of expensive. You can get the equivalent of Vercel's Pro plan with the additional costs for cheaper in AWS, and even cheaper if you spin up your own VPC. By doing that, you'll give up a lot of convenience, I admit, but you would also gain a lot of skills. Not only that, you wouldn't have to sell your soul to become a Next.js dev, so that's another perk. Am I telling you to secretly spin up server racks in the office? Yes. But actually, I do think cloud hosts are great and have a lot of useful features that make our lives as developers easier. And I bet for the majority of cases, 99.999% of cases, they are the best solution out there. But I think it's worth considering and playing around with alternatives, especially for your own personal projects. Will they get penetrated? Probably a lot. But you will learn from each penetration and you will get stronger. Now, before my personal website gets brutally penetrated and all of my feed pics get leaked, I hope you like this video and make sure to subscribe.